All right. Now, this is funny because in most sessions I'm usually having my whiteboard, and I'm sure I'll have my whiteboard out on some future presentations during this workshop. But the other kind of thing I wanted to share, this principle of success, is that you can't whiteboard success. You can start the planning, but you can't make success happen on that initial go, on that initial whiteboard. Here's what I mean. So I talked earlier about the lottery ticket mentality, right? The lottery ticket mentality is one that says that success is just finding the exact right thing, and implementing it, and all of a sudden you're successful, right? If we just got the right thing, if I bought this guy's product and copied A and B and pasted it there, and all of a sudden we're just infinitely successful. That's just not how it works. Again, that's not how your business is grown. That's not how you've grown as an individual. There's a very obvious plan. Like I said, these are standard, almost so obvious truths that we miss them. And so SAM is an acronym that we use to see continual improvement. So step one of the SAM process is that you have to first have an idea of your current location. Where are you? Where are you right now? How many leads do you have? How many sales do you have? How many customers do you have? Just take inventory. How much traffic are you getting, right? How much content do you have on your site? These are just all real black and white things. Here's where we are. Here is where we are. And the next step, which is very powerful, is to then say, where do we want to be? I'm going to say that this right here, this is huge. We don't spend enough time really painting a strong enough picture for where we want to go. And so think about it. If you don't have a clear, tangible goal for where you want to go, or if you're applying an initiative, what that initiative should be providing for you, how are you going to get there? Right? How are you going to get to some place that you haven't designated? It's like the GPS system, right? You pick up your phone, you're on the GPS, and if you try to do one of these things, right? Let's say you put in your destination, but it doesn't know where you are. You can't get a map. You can't have a map if you don't know where you currently are, no matter if you know where you want to go. And the opposite is also true. You might know where you are, but if you don't know where you want to go, there's not going to be any navigation. There's not going to be any system that's going to tell you exactly where. So one of the first things we have to do is take inventory of where we are and then have clear definition of where we want to go. Because when we have those two things, now we can implement and learn. And the first thing that we're going to do is apply a strategy. And that's going to be a part of what we're doing here. We're going to have a strategy, an idea that works not just based on what the world's doing or what's the hot topic right now or what Facebook is telling you to do, but based on your value to need continuum, based on the idea of the customer journey, based on this idea of moving people through, serving them, solving their problems into a way that you move people all the way through the customer journey. So we're going to start with this strategy, and we're going to develop that in these 5 days. The next step is then act. We're going to act. And we're going to have a little workshop later this week that shows you how to take grand ideas and a different marketing campaign and break it up into a piece where you can go and act. But you have to implement. You got to implement the strategy. And then the third step, and this is so missing. I literally had consulted with a company that does $5 billion a year in sales. They have stores, online, all this other stuff. And when I went on their Google Analytics, they had zero conversion tracking. There was no way inside of their own Google Analytics to track if a conversion happens. So this is not a problem. This is not like, small brand, medium size. No. This is a missing ingredient across the board. Because if you don't have a data point that you can say, how is this working, then how are you going to improve it? And this just becomes a flywheel effect, right? Here's where we are. Here's where we want to go. We're going to implement a strategy. We're going to implement well. We're going to then measure, are we where we want to be? What did we learn? Well, we learned this. Okay, well, let that impact your strategy. Act. And we're just going to keep going around and around. And then once you hit your desired destination, guess what? You're probably going to have a new grand goal. And we're just going to keep pivoting these on top of each other. And so in a very systematic, scientific method approach, we're going to have the ideas, we're going to act, we're going to implement, and then we're going to measure success. This doesn't happen by accident. This is an intentional process that we go through, but I mean, honestly, I think the reason you're probably on a call like this with me is that you hope that we have some ideas that maybe will help you further along, that'll give you, a head start in the process. But don't take anything that a consultant gives you, just for gospel. Don't take anything that you're given as being like, this is absolutely the way it is. Like, look at it through the lens of your value to need, the idea of customer journey, and then if you do decide that this is worth taking a stab at, implement it. Now, I mentioned earlier in the shiny new toy syndrome that so often brands will start projects, get really excited about it, and then it fizzles. Well, this is the main reason to solve that. If you thought it was well enough to start an initiative, to get something going, to do everything, if you just launch it and you learn and you iterate and you improve, maybe after a couple rounds you realize, this is no go and we got to blow it up. But you're never going to have instant success. It's always going to be a process. So you have to be able, when you launch these things, to learn and then to figure out kind of what are not just the big metrics, like what's the sales and the leads, but what are the minor metrics? What are the certain metrics that are hints that things are working, things are getting better?